What's good, my Schneegros? How y'all doing tonight? You alright? I'm dandy. Dandy's probably a bad word. I'm alright. Or as my grandma would say, fair to middling. It's weird how language has evolved through the years. You know, old phrases now carry new sort of perceptual weight to them. So if you use certain lingo, people, well, they'll automatically make assumptions about you and how you are based on the words you use. I don't know how it came that way. Well, I do, but I don't. Anyway, it's is it fine, dreary evening here in Ohio? It's cold. And there's precipitation, but it's like that bipolar precipitation. So it's like, am I going to rain? No, I'm not going to. I might. You don't know, bitch. I'll hit. And it's like it just leaves you kind of like, would you make up your mind? Anywho, I have my trusty Joe with me, and I'm going to get into it again. You know, something I want to touch on. Dealing with all these personalities I happen across on the internet. So many people come to me trying to force their inner story on me and or force me to conform to their inner story. They want me to change the things that I'm saying and change my mannerisms and ways of interacting with other people towards satisfying their internal sense of justice and or what they feel is appropriate and correct. The thing is, I have zero interest in conforming anything that I'm doing or saying to match anyone's inner story. Fuck your feelings, your preferences, and your beliefs. I don't give a fuck what you feel and believe. I don't even care what I feel and believe. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to see what's consistent with reality, not what matches and conforms to our inner story. Don't come to me trying to get me to change what I'm doing to appease you. It is the height of narcissism to assume that I should change me in order to match you. But that kind of carries us into the point of the podcast tonight. Expecting others to change to match you. This is the reason why most relationships fail. By the way, tonight's podcast is on the subject of relationships again, because people keep approaching me about this subject, but the reason why most relationships fail, the reason why my past relationships have failed with me even in the avatar position and then also prior to that is because of one thing, and that is selfishness, self-interest. When you can't deprioritize yourself and you make everything about you and your experience, you suck the life out of everything. You suck the potential out of everything. If everything boils down to you and your comfort levels and where you're willing or not willing to go to and where you're not willing to bend, everything falls to shit. You suck the life out of everything that you touch when everything is about you and your experience. Therein lies the rub. We live in a world that basically socializes us. The socialization process trains us to be raging narcissists. We are taught from infancy to assume that we are right first and that the world should conform to us on some level. Even if you're an aggressive person and you figure out how to force your will onto the world around you, you still expect the world around you to conform to you and your internal sense of justice because this is how the socialization process affects you. It turns you into a fucking raging narcissist. You can't have a system full of entities that are motivated towards all things in life in general by selfishness. A system full of selfish entities fails, which is why relationships generally fail. Everybody's out for self. You're either out for self from a dominant position and you take and try and force your will onto someone and or force someone to become your slave. Or you try to control from the submissive position and gradually manipulate and coerce someone into doing your bidding, into accepting and edifying your own sense of value and worth. Narcissism. Back to the point that I was making earlier. Do you know what it's like to be an avatar and to have people who aren't even a fraction as intelligent as you demonstrate yourself to be on a regular basis try to give you pointers on how to better perform something they have absolutely no understanding of or for? Raging narcissists think that they do a better job of something that they don't have the talent or ability to hold or pull off. It's annoying. It's very much like how racists do that. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Shuck and jive. Be like, word? You ever tried being black in this country? I wear multiple hats. I have to figure out how to be multiple things every day. I'll be honest in saying I don't have all the answers. This shit didn't come with an instruction manual. It didn't come with an instruction manual. I have no understanding for how to do a lot of this most days. I mean, like, sure, you can see behind the fabric of reality, but I mean, like, you can't see the future. And you're like, well, shit. That's a bad hitch. That makes shit really weird. Oh no, you can see the macro scales. You can see how everything fits and flows together from like the meta scales of existence. And you're like, oh word? Yeah, but you just can't see into the future. Fuck. It's kind of like being Superman or being able to fly through air, but not having skin that's durable enough to hold up to the speeds you're able to fly at. Kind of like, well, that is a weird, so you can fly 80 million miles an hour, but it's like, oh, the flesh would rip off your skin. You're kind of like, that's a weird hang up. It seems counterintuitive. What the fuck? But anyway, it goes. It's like I have to figure out how to just show up and be my best and do my best. I mean, like, it comes with constraints. There are limitations, and again, you have to juggle multiple hats. But I mention that because being an avatar, one thing that I can say with absolute certainty is that in everything that we encounter in reality, because everything is sort of based in principles, we're always just looking at different versions of the same thing. We're always just looking at different versions of the same thing. And if we're looking at the different versions of the same principles playing out over and over again, then relationships necessarily factor into grander principles playing out at and beyond the universal scale of plane. Let me see. Eric comes in. I think about killing myself every day. Every single day. Kant's categorical imperative. Okay, I'm not so familiar with Kant. Again, I'm not a big fan of philosophy, but I understand wanting to kill yourself every single day, and I'll get into that in just a bit. It's biomechanical. It doesn't really have shit to do with how... Actually, I'm going to take a quick second to sort of detour to that point. When you understand what the ego parasite is and how it motivates the human host towards reality. Basically, it's literally a physical parasite that resides in the human body that's concentrated in the frontal lobes of the brain and then spread throughout the autonomic nervous system. The reason why it's important to understand that is because the ego, it subsists on hormones and neurotransmitters produced by the human body. So it subsists on like epinephrine, norepinephrine, oxytocin, vasopressin, insulin, dopamine, serotonin, etc., etc., etc. Right? The reason why it's important to understand that, because again, the ego is what controls the phenomenon humans refer to as perception. Perception is an artificial. It's like an artificial. It's like it's kind of like a movie, a heavily edited movie of reality being broadcast into the human mind. So it's weird the way this shit works, man. It's really weird. So think about it like this. The ego does sort of like a taped delay, or like 10-second, I won't say 10-second, but like few microsecond delay of information being taken in through the sensory faculties. And then it broadcasts a sort of heavily edited version of what's actually occurring in reality into the mind of the human host, into the natural mind of the human host. Now, in this split second that information is being taken in through the sensory faculties, this ego parasite, it has the ability to, again, make serious edits to it. So it can insert phantom data, it can withhold data, it can do whatever it wants to towards steering the human host to indulge in substances and behaviors that will force their bodies to produce hormones and neurotransmitters for it to feed on. All right? So that may seem rather complicated, but I can make it really simple in an explanation. Let's say your ego parasite, the parasite itself, let's say that it wants insulin. All right? It's like, yo, it'll make the human host be like, yo, I want some sweet and fatty foods. Let's say it wants, epinephrine or norepinephrine. It can trick the human host to believe in, hey, I need excitement. I need thrills. I need danger. And it can make the person go out and do anything ranging from gamble their life savings away on a roll of the dice all the way to hooking up with random strangers just because. This bug, if it's in control of you, it can weaponize your perception against you, your experience of reality against you at any time. And that's what it is. It's weaponizing your perception of reality against you so that it can make you pursue and indulge in substances and behaviors that will force your body to produce food for it. So that dark cloud that's hanging over your head, that deep cloud of depression, it's literally just a bug in your brain switching reality around to make you believe you need to do more shit to force your body to produce chemicals for it to feed on. Ironically, this still plays into love and romance, and I'll get into that in just a second. Competition. Competition, it produces epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline. Most people are adrenaline junkies. They're literally addicted. They're literally addicted to competition and to things that are going to force their body to produce this chemical cocktail. So when most people get into relationships with other people, what they're looking for is someone who's going to satisfy their desire to compete, their desire to prove their value and worth, so that after they've gotten the high from competing, they can get that dopamine fix and that serotonin fix from accomplishment. And if they're actually able to form a bond, which in parasitic relationships doesn't really happen. Mutual bonds don't really happen. You only have parasitic bonds. then, they'll get that vasopressin and oxytocin fix. But all of these motivations, all these stimulations, they all fall back to motherfuckers being driven towards reality by a bug that they don't know about. Something pulling strings from behind the curtain. Brings us back to relationships. Relationships fail because people are narcissists. A narcissist is a person who thinks like a fucking parasite. Narcissist feels that it is their inherent right to live and benefit at the expense of others. It is my right to be more important than you. It is my right to take before you. It is my right to take at your expense. My comfort takes precedence over your experience and how you're impacted by my attitudes, actions, and behaviors. Every abusive relationship falls to this dynamic. People living and benefiting at the expense of others. One of my homegirls hit me up today. She was asking me a question regarding whether or not it's okay for her to maintain, communication with someone who she used to be bound to, And the reason why I even mentioned this is because, and first of all, don't nobody get in your mind who I'm talking about, because I talk to people about this stuff all day, all the time. So if you think I'm talking about you, I'm probably not. Chill. But I'm talking, and I'm like, yo, hey. Okay, so how would you feel if, someone were to do it to you? If someone were to maintain a connection with someone from the past? And the point was not good, but here's the issue. We have to get past this idea in general that relationships are only supposed to make us happy and be fulfilling. We have to get past this idea that we have to get past this consumerist mindset when it comes to interacting with people who we form romantic bonds with. Most romantic bonds fail because people never stop shopping. They never stop shopping. They never stop trying to better deal the individual who they're presently with. And instead of investing into building something that's lasting and real and that brings a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and connection, they much rather keep their options open just in case the best deal presents itself. As such, these relationships never become closed systems of interaction, but they're always maybe closed on one person's end, but open for bidding on the other person's end. Nothing can sustain that way. If you don't invest fully into forming a bond with someone, you miss the point of being with them to begin with. You shouldn't be entertaining side deals or hustles or trying to see, who has the best deal to offer and things of that nature, because it's like if you have that much of your mind invested into taking care of you, there's no way in hell you've invested into the system of interactions that should sum to form the relationship with your mate. If you're halfway in it, you can't get the full effect. You can't get the full benefit. It's kind of like, I don't know. Imagine someone gave you a battery of vitamins to take and, in order for you to, hulk up and muscle up and all those other things, and you working out. And then you're like, oh man, it's like, you see, it's like I have all the muscles, but it's like my joints, they feel weak. And you sit and you look and be like, hey, motherfucker, you only ate the protein. You didn't eat the fucking joint enhancers that I gave you. What's wrong with you? Oh yeah, I didn't like those. And you see here, it was a whole complete package. You can't just take the ones that you like and then skip the rest. You miss out on the entire effect. That's what going into a relationship with a consumerist mindset is like. It's very parasitic. It's very parasitic. If you don't invest fully, if you don't take the fullness of the person who you're within, and love to come to love the good and the bad, and come to love being good to all the perfect points and all the imperfections of your mate, you cheat yourself. It isn't that you just cheat them, you cheat yourself. And then ultimately you probably go out and end up cheating on them because you never stop thinking about you. You never stopped thinking about you and what was best for you. You didn't think about the system of interactions. You didn't think about the bond. You didn't think about the other person. You just thought about yourself. You know how many selfish people come to me all the time? What can I do? Because these bitches ain't doing right. These niggas ain't doing right. How can I find me a good man? Are you a narcissist? Because if you're a narcissist, it doesn't matter who you end up with. You're still going to be miserable. Because it's only a matter of time before your narcissism destroys the relationship. You need to do some personal work. It's a matter of fucking time before your narcissism destroys it all. But why can't they make me happy? Why can't they do more? Oh, God. And again, I'm not saying this from a point of judgment per se, because it's like I've been a raging narcissist in relationships too. I look at all the ways in which I contributed to the downfall of the relationships, and it's like I'm able to sort of look at myself with 20/20 vision in hindsight. And I'm like, yo, I was like that? That's wild. We have a bad habit of idealizing ourselves. We have a bad habit of assuming that we're the good guy. One of the very first things that you learn, especially when you get the perspective I purport to perform through, is a big old fucking mirror. I can't point fingers at anybody without pointing 3 back at me, and I'm like, oh shit, I did that too. Oh shit, I did that too. A good majority of my understanding for these phenomena comes from me actually looking back over past experiences and saying, damn, I was a real little shit, wasn't I? But we learn. We learn, we adapt, and we grow when we want to know the truth. When we want to be consistent with reality, there's not a whole lot of room for us to hide behind our feelings and beliefs. If you make a negative impact, you make a negative impact. Your intentions be damned. What you learned be damned. What someone told you be damned. If you fuck something up, you fucked it up. You step up and you make it right. But most people will never learn how to do that in relationships because they can never stop defending their identity and their sense of entitlement. They can never stop assuming that they are good and that anyone who doesn't reflect the value they hold themselves in the way of self-esteem and their feelings and beliefs back to them, they think that whoever doesn't reflect them back to them must be wrong by virtue of the socialization process. Eric came back in. What'd you write down here? You say, when the phenomenon of self itself is broadcasted to the natural mind of the human host, where is there time for a gap? That's a great question. Dude, I'm just describing how it works mechanically. Because it's already inside your mind, I don't think that it requires the exact same, it doesn't require the same type of conversion time as it would in per se like mechanism, like let's say a video recorder or whatnot. It seems almost instantaneous, but you can insert a lot of information into that. So think about it like this. You know what the placebo effect is, right? Placebo effect, it works 2 ways, okay? Placebo effect works 2 ways. First, it can It can it can make you feel like you're healed when nothing has happened to you at all. And conversely, it can be used to terrorize you. So if you look at something like, say, withdrawal symptoms a person experiences when they don't have access to a drug they've become addicted to, it's a placebo effect. Now, a person, when they're being attacked by this ego parasite for not supplying them with the substance that triggers their body to produce the higher level of hormone and neurotransmitters that the ego subsists on, I mean, it beats them the fuck up. It's like they nausea, headaches, and the heavy sweats, and they think they're gonna die. This is all happening because this placebo effect is being weaponized against the human host. And here's the reason why you know this statement is true. You tell someone that you can get that, like, who's going through withdrawal, hey, if you make it just this much longer, here, I have this for you right here. Or here, I can get you some drugs right now. As soon as you say I can get you some drugs, watch all those symptoms just disappear. We're like, oh, you can? Okay, cool. All of a sudden, shit is gone. The shit is gone, right? It's the placebo. So the ego parasite is inserting phantom data into the apperception, causing the human host to experience reality in such a way that they have a physiological effect, or physiological response to stimulations that are being produced within. It's very weird, but it can, I mean, like, this is what happens when people go through, say, schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. It's a bug just putting pressure on a person to find chemicals for it to feed on. It's an interesting phenomenon. Let me see. Okay, ooh, we got more people coming in. Eric, okay, he writes again, in terms of relationships, it's one's duty to destroy that bug, which might be the only thing motivating self-preservation, therefore using another person. How could you tell them whether you care for the other, how could you tell then whether you care for the other person or you are using the other person just to stay alive? Well, that's a great question. I would say it like this. When first of all, you don't have to destroy your ego. You just have to learn how to coexist with it, because it's hardwired into your shit. Like, if you destroy it, you lose your ability to interact with the world around you. So you kind of rely on it. You can't let it run the show. Okay? First of all, you can't let the bug run the show. If it starts punking you, you need to sit down, hunker down, fast and meditate, and let it beat you up a little bit. Let it turn the other cheek. Hey, yeah, I know that you can hit me with them hooks, them body snatchers from within my apperception. I don't have the power to affect you in that way. But you know what? If you're gonna beat me up, then we both gonna starve. Fuck you. We're going through this together. You learn how to act right, or we just gonna tough it out together. You let that motherfucker. You let it feel. You let it know that it's not gonna bully you by just weaponizing your apperception against you. Right? But to your question, how do you know you're not using another person? I say this often. When you form a real relationship with a person, when you form a real bond, they become a key that opens the fucking prison of selfishness. When a person motivates you to think above the level of self-interest, and I mean consistently, not sometimes, but when a person motivates you to think above the level of self-interest, and you stop caring exclusively about your experience, you start caring about, how are they experiencing this? Damn, what can I do? What can I do to enhance their experience? Or you just start thinking about them like, fuck, I love the shit out of them. How do I find a way to let them know exactly how they impact me? How they make me feel, not just how they impact me, but the value they have in general. When a person elevates your thinking to that level, you know you love them. It isn't just about what you get out of the situation at that point. Your sense of purpose comes in trying to be good to them. Brother, absurd the word! Investing fully. I like that. It sounds like trying your best. Exactly, brother. First of all, love you, my dog. But yeah, investing fully. Like you can't go half in. You know, one of the weirdest things about being in this position, being an avatar, and again, nobody shows you how to do this shit. A lot of it is very intuitive work. You're like, what the most days I go to bed like, what the fuck? And I wake up the next day like, what the fuck? I don't know how to do this shit most of the time. I'm just be trying to figure it out. But I show up and do my best. And in the process of doing that, I have to be pretty guarded in terms of who I allow into my life and who I allow into my space. You know? Because, I mean, it's already so much hanging in the balance there. And, you know, I mentioned that because it goes to the point that what I experience in terms of the maximum amount of damage I can incur when dealing with people, you know, specifically love, interest, or close friendships, right? Regardless of what I do in life, I'm always going to show up and go all in. I'm always going to show up and do my very best. What hurts me more than anything is when I do my best to be my best to someone and they don't return it. You know what I'm saying? It's like because it's like that punch you didn't see coming. The one you didn't see coming is what hurts you the most. And yeah, man, it's really interesting because the only thing that I ever want from anyone is to show up and try. Give me the best that you got. Give me the best that you got. I'm going to give you the best that I got. And guess what? Whatever you can't bring to the table, I'm happy to make up the spread for us. But you got to show up and you got to give your best. You got to be your best. And, you know, a lot of times people fall short of that, you know. And I think that's the thing that probably hurts the most is like, why wasn't I worthy of your best? Why wasn't I worthy of your effort? I mean, if you're worthy of mine, why am I not worthy of yours? And it kind of goes back to some old scar that I had growing up. But it's like, to me, in friendships and relationships and anything, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to be my best. That's all I want from anybody in exchange. And I'm just at a point right now where it's like, you know, you just kind of had to be selective about, yo, who deserves your time and effort? Let me see. Brother Eric is back. Let me see. I'm falling in love with someone right now, and she reciprocates by way of revealing to me herself, and these two selves are heavily overlapping. Wouldn't this be a form of narcissism in the sense that we are both falling in love with ourselves? Kinda, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, they get into relationships and they sort of self-idealize. And the problem is they go into deep social acting. In the relationship, I don't think that people really let other people see their true self. They show up being characters of interest. And then after a while, they start to resent the person who they're acting for because they can't keep up the charade. It takes a lot of energy to stay in character. It takes a lot of fucking energy to stay in character for someone. And more than anything, what I think people want is an opportunity to be honest, to be open and fluid with someone, but they realize they brought this actor to the table and that, well, at least they fear that in the event someone realizes they were acting all along, then they fear they'll lose the person, so they work even harder to keep up this character, and only to the detriment of the relationship. If you, Eric, are in the process of revealing your true self to this woman who you love, you know, and first of all, congratulations. I hope that it's a very fruitful and fulfilling, you know, experience with this young lady. However, yes, you know, you sit here and I don't know that I would call it narcissism unless you guys are really acting with each other and you're just trying to impress each other still. But if you get to a point where you're just, you know, sort of being fluid and open and letting each other see your idiosyncrasies and all the garbage that lay behind the veneer effect of the identity, then you're moving in the right direction. Can't stay in character forever, man. Brother Absurd comes back. Is it like recognizing red Toyota because you owned a red Toyota? Is it like recognizing red Toyota because you owned a red Toyota? I'm not sure what that's in relation to because I said a lot of things. Hit me back on that one. Get back to me. Eric says, my dad has a joke on this. A guy called me conceited once. Well, I don't know what the word conceited meant, so I looked it up in the dictionary. It read conceited, to have an excessively high opinion of oneself. Well, I knew then that I'm not conceited. There is nothing excessive about the opinion I have of myself. Well, let me see. Excellent take on placebo effect. In a way, then, I'm beating myself up over a placebo. Yes, so we're going to get to both of those at the exact same time. First of all, conceited. I'm going to say it like this. Self-idealizing. Self-idealizing, it is conceit. It's vanity. When you self-idealize and you sort of have this sort of static and fixed idea of what you are as a character, it's always going to be narcissism. It's always going to be conceit. And the reason why is because your character, your social character, your identity, it's a veneer effect. It's unsustainable. As you get exposure to new information and ideas and experiences, it's bound to change. If you have a sort of fixed idea of who and how you are in your mind, and that's something that you choose to hold to in spite of reality constantly weighing upon it and sort of cracking the foundations of it, then yeah, there's no way for you to not be conceited. And this is something that I had to learn myself. I had all these ideas about who and how Donald King was and is, and reality showed me that was a lie. When I first became this thing I purport to be, when it first turned out that I found I was an avatar, you know, I went to heaven and the whole nine. You know, after that I kind of had my entire identity just fucking broken in the most brutal fashion imaginable. Like, you know, it's like I had this very clear idea of who and how I was, and through just years of brutal humiliation and having shit taken away from me, I was broken of the propensity to sort of self-idealize because I was shown very clearly I'm not what I think I am. Donald King was a fiction the entire time. If you had asked me beforehand, I would have swore otherwise. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. So we're going to recap with relationships real quick. Like, yo, when you're in a relationship with somebody, work to get out of that fucking consumerist mindset. Stop keeping all the channels open because you crave attention so fucking much that you let all of these people into what should be a closed system of interactions between you and the person you're bonded to. Stop trying to better deal people all the time. I've done it. I know it's a fucked up thing to do. Stop looking to better deal people. It's narcissistic. Oh, this person will make they'll enhance my social character. I'll drink with the pinky out this time. Stop trying to better deal people. Stop expecting people to come in and be your fucking slaves. Stop self-idealizing. Stop trying to make interactions with you and your mate something that benefits you exclusively. Pay attention to the system of interactions as opposed to your own self-interest. Don't even idealize your mate. Don't pay attention to them and dote on them and spend all your time trying to win their approval. Pay attention to the system of interactions instead. When's the last time I took care of this person in this way? When's the last time I took care of him in that way? What am I doing to make sure that this bond between us is healthy and strong? How am I letting them know that they have value without compromising my own sense of value? How do I keep balance between us? And again, like I told you before, this goes to the meta scales of existence, in that even when we're talking about at the universal scale of plane, you have a parasitic twin universe that's about to be fused to its sibling universe. They're about to be a conjoined twin. There has to be balance. There has to be symbiosis. These two life forms now have to figure out how to coexist as one. It requires mutual symbiosis. So anything that's still in a state of parasitism and or competition and or narcissism and or aggression has to be chopped away. Corrupt structural building blocks have to be chopped away so that there can be balance and harmony. Narcissistic individuals have to get cut away so that there can be balance and harmony. That's what it means. The meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. Those who aren't narcissistic, they will inherit the earth. Everything that remains in an aggressive, narcissistic mode, everything that remains corrupt, has to get cut away. It has to be purged. In relationships, if you're a narcissist, you have to get cut away. In order for a healthy bond to form with another person who knows how to think in terms of balance and to think systemically. Everything isn't about you. Everything isn't about you. You are not the star of reality. You're not the star of life. You're not the star of your relationship or interactions with others. Everything isn't about your experience. You have to figure out how to pay attention, how to think above the level of self-interest. That's my I guess that's my central thesis, my thesis statement to the species. Think above the level of self-interest. That's the only way you survive this, on this side of existence and the next. Brother Eric comes back. So how are you feeling today? I'll be honest with you, bro. Tired. There's a lot of work that comes with this. Some days I'm a little discombobulated, man. I'm like, yo, the fuck is going on with this? And I'm always like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And there's like, nobody studies me and the impacts that I make more than me. I'm just sitting here and it's like I literally have to make a scatter plot of all the different things that I've said and people I touched here and there. And it's like sort of look at everything from meta view. And I'm like, yes. Okay, so this fits. Okay, this is a frame. It's a frame. Yeah, that works. Yeah, okay. TJ. And then other days I'm sitting here like, what the fuck am I doing? It's like, I'm glad that I question myself. I'm glad that it's like I'm constantly trying to understand how to be the most impactful that I can be in the best way that I can be. So I'm not sold on the idea of me. And as such, I think that's my saving grace when it comes to the question of whether or not I'm sane and mentally healthy. I'm not sold on the idea of me. But today I am, as my grandma would say, fair to middling. Fair to middling. So, thank you for asking, by the way. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this up before too long. We're at 44 minutes, 44. Let me see. Y'all already know what it is. I'm obviously shooting this on Facebook Live, but you can catch me on different platforms on social media. You can catch me on Instagram. You can catch me on Medium and YouTube. All of these videos, they get posted to my YouTube channel. So just in case you want to go back and sort of scroll through, in case I say something that sparks your interest and whatnot, you can always check these out on my YouTube channel. I should post a link to that before too long. But I thank y'all for chiming in and for watching with your men. You know what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, you guys always feel free. You can always join the Patreon family. I am Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13. You can also, if you get any sort of appreciation from what I do and you just want to bless your boy for the sermon for the day, you can always hit me up on Cash App at Donna King. You know what I'm saying? All proceeds go to building this up to a larger platform. Again, I want to reach as many people as I can while I'm in this form. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this body. Again, can't see the future. Don't know how it's all going to play out. Only thing I can do is show up and try. So, Patreon, Avatar Cycle 13, Donna Kang, Cash App, you know what it is. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Again, the main thing that I want you to take away from this is healthy relationships can exist in any type of relationship. A friendship, a business relationship, a romantic relationship, a familial bond. None of these things can exist as long as self-interest is what's driving the actor towards the exchange. If self-interest is what drives you towards another individual, you've already defeated the relationship. If you are attracted to someone because of how they'll make you look, or how they'll enhance your character, or how they'll enhance your experience, you've already failed the relationship. You've already destroyed it. You are not the fucking star. When you form a bond with someone, the system of interactions between you two, that should be the central focus. You can't do that if you're talking to this person here and shopping over here and shopping over there and always looking out for what's going to ultimately benefit you the most. Because then it will be a parasitic relationship. You would be literally looking to live and benefit at the expense of a person you're supposed to have formed a symbiotic bond with. You both lose. You both lose. But you will be the reason for the loss. I'll catch up with y'all in a few. My people, have a good night. All right.